Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Volpe Bazzo Report. I want you to know that we have a couple of announcements to make. Number one, we have two special guests. You know, Darren is our rigger, our political commentator. Whoa. And we have Brian Fumagalli, who the editor of the Yorktown News, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, not only can you see my column every week in the Yorktown News, I am now in the Mayor Pack News. So when you're cleaning off your knuckles from dragging them, you can pick up a paper and watch. Now, I'm not in Somers because I use more than one-syllable words. So I'm not allowed to be in Somers because they don't understand me. However, the good news is that Brian Fumagalli has been promoted to the... Go ahead, Brian. You talk about your promotion.
Okay. Well, I'm the editor of all three of our papers, which would be Somers Record. I don't know what the camera can see here, but it doesn't really matter. Somers Record, Mayapack News, and Yorktown News. So those are our three communities we serve, and I'll be running the.
And I want
how come we don't have a paper for Peekskill?
Yeah,
we need a.
Talk to my boss.
I've been saying
we need
this,
a local paper.
Yes, we need a local paper in Peekskill. I absolutely.
Well, if you get the Peekskill economy up and running, there'll be more of an advertising base, and we'll get there.
Listen, there are people there. You know, the North County News used to be in Peekskill.
Yes,
right?
They used to exist.
They used to exist. Yeah.
Yes,
that could be one of the reasons why.
But I want you to know that not only did Brian get the promotion and take me with him to Mayapack, he gave me the same raise he got.
Which
That's
is
actually not
probably
true. You're trying to make a joke, but somebody did get a raise out of it. Somebody didn't.
He told me that nothing was too good for me, and that's what I got.
Wait, if you open up a paper in Peekskill, does that mean that Andy's column would appear in?
Yes,
that would be a third paper. It would appear in.
Then never mind.
Thanks a lot. Now, Darren,
You'd be one of his unnamed sources. All the
we'll
time.
stick to no paper.
Oh, that's not fair. That we could. I told you we could get ruin all our careers and just talk about what we're talking about off the air.
I actually read your articles mostly on what's called the Bazzo Manifesto.
Yeah. Okay.
Which actually, if you put manifesto after everything, it really screams crazy. It screams that the person's probably crazy.
Now I want to talk about something because Darren, you're my political commentator, and so you have a governor. We're this big HUD discussion about money and zoning and all this. So you have a governor that says these local communities pass zoning laws to discriminate against minorities. Now, you've known people on zoning boards. I've known people on zoning boards. I think the governor stepped in it, bringing race into something that a lot of these laws were passed years ago. And I believe that zoning laws are created to usurp the takings clause, take people's property without giving them value. And it has nothing to do with race. It's a matter of saying, this is our town. And so we don't want you build like Nick Bianco. Nick Bianco will not in Yorktown. He's never met a tree he didn't want to hug. And I don't think that has anything to do with race.
Yeah, you can look. Here's the problem with what's going on with Astorino as far as the city of Peekskill is concerned.
Right, you were talking about that.
He can have all the opinion and philosophical beliefs that he can possibly have, and that's fine. What we're looking at is the consequences, and the consequences are that the city of Peekskill will lose millions upon millions of HUD dollars. That's supposed to come into our city.
I know that's the real practical matter
That's
of it.
the practical, and again...
And the one I look at it from afar, because I'm not in this, I'm just a journalist or editor or whatever, it's pathetic that a community is so dependent on those funds. It's sad and it's pathetic.
It's what it is. It's your tax dollar that you're paying. You work hard, you pay taxes, right? And we have collectively, as a society, agreed after you pay taxes, some of it will come back into your community in the form of social services, in the form of improved street scrapes, in the form of programs, in the form of buildings and loans.
Programs and do they do anything?
But this is kind of what
Michael Grimm was not part of the tax-paying public.
This is your tax dollar. So you've already been taxed, right? You've already been taxed.
No, I understand.
The money goes off to the federal government. It's earmarked. It's supposed to come back to communities like ours in Westchester. And now it's not. So that money is going to go I think by the time that this show airs, they would have probably already made the decision.
Yeah, but you come from.
They're going to send it. Los Angeles will get the money.
My
They'll gladly
point,
take
my point is this,
Chicago will
Darren.
gladly take your tax.
Darren,
dollars.
Well, I
my
don't care.
point-
Tell you the truth,
you know,
I don't
my
care. I don't
point-
care if it goes to Peekskill or LA because it's not going to me.
Yeah, but
What do I
my
care?
point is
Well, it
this.
goes to improve your community. It
Yeah,
goes
but-
to improve your county. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
our
my
tax
point-
dollars that's supposed to
Darren,
come
my
back.
point is this politically. You come from, when you ran for Congress, you claimed home to a number of communities because of how you grew up, Putnam Valley.
I was raised in Putnam Valley,
Right.
and I
But
live
I'm
in
just saying, do you really believe, because like it says, you've known people, you grew up here, that these laws were passed for racial reasons?
I think that at some point, the argument going on between the federal government and Astorino is so esoteric as to
Nice word.
But it was the governor that brought
what
the race
people,
in.
what the people are kind of not,
Well,
what
the
the people are
federal government did
feeling is that they know that Westchester County lost some kind of lawsuit and it tied
Right.
up their money, and they want their money. They want us to figure out how to move this forward with the lawsuit. Lawsuits are supposed to end. Like, if I have a lawsuit against my neighbor about our fence, at the end of the day, the lawsuit will end, and one of us will have to build the fence or pay for the fence.
Lawsuits
or,
end when the lawyer realizes their client's running out of money and they can't get
So
paid
bottom line
anymore.
is, you're looking at it from. We can have this discussion all we want, but the fact is that there's money that's not coming to Peekskill that you, for your city, you want, and so you want.
And you
an
were
end to this.
explaining off the air, where was this money supposed to go? You were giving
not
me a
only
whole
that, but
litany of ideas.
we get taxed. We get taxed both ways, right?
Who's the
So-
bad guy here,
so-
Astorino or the federal government? Who's really holding up your money? Who started this whole thing?
I would have to say because of the
Andy
the
Spano
peanut
is to
gallery
blame,
saying
yes.
Andy Spano.
That's the voice of God.
What we need is solutions. We need someone to figure out a solution. And so whether that's some hybrid in between, everyone admits.
But your political party loves this type of stuff. This is liberalism written all over it. And you're a Democrat. I assume you're liberal, but you're a Democrat.
No, he's sane. He's
fine.
sane.
Well, you should love this kind of stuff. The big bad federal government coming in and going to take our money away because we're so beholden to them. And oh my God, they're calling communities racist. Now we can change local laws. Oh, we love this top-down government. You should love this.
Here's what I
whole
love,
thing.
though. I love the fact that we are paying for the lawsuits. So we're being taxed by Westchester County to run lawsuits against the federal government. We're taxed by the federal government to run lawsuits against Westchester County.
Taxes are great too, right?
So the only people that are benefiting are the lawyers.
I just said that, and they'll settle it.
and that's one of the biggest constituencies of the Democrat Party. This is perfect.
No. No.
Let's go to tort reform.
No, but just quickly, what does Peekskill stand to lose?
Millions
With
of
the-
dollars.
I
I mean,
know, but-
literally millions.
right,
I
but-
think at this
but you
point we're
gave me a-
hovering at around $10 million.
But you gave me a litany of things that money was
It
supposed
could be
to
used. It could be used for construction. It's used specifically for streetscape,
That's-
road improvement. Every time you do something like take a sidewalk in Peekskill that you see is kind of broken up or old, some of them are 40, 50 years old. They rip out the entire sidewalk and replace them and make them handicapped accessible, and they paint them.
So
and they do
that's
the
where
new
this
curbs.
money. So in the
It'll-
practical
it'll-
terms, that's
also
what
there's
Peek.
flooding. When you do a type of streetscape, you can fix flooding issues.
I said, so that's the type of money
Very
Peekskill's
practical money.
losing.
Very practical, yeah.
I mean, that the regular people, they could see it physically.
And you can't pass that along to small businesses. So
Right.
if you want to open up a small business on Main Street in Peekskill, it would be unfair for me to say to you, oh, here's an opportunity. I'm going to make the small business owner replace an entire section of sidewalk, make it ADA compliant, and put in new sewers.
Oh, in other words, you're not Cortland.
We're not. Well, we don't want to be Cortland. So what we want is our money that was taxed from us that's being held up.
Okay, now let's go. I want. There's another Peekskill issue we're going to get into, but I want to get into this first
But you mentioned the governor because that's
right.
the governor's
you,
race is
you
the hot
are
race right now.
you are our political consultant because of your resume with so many different areas of government. I believe that there is internal polling that shows Cuomo in more trouble than the national, the general polling shows because of his. If you don't agree with me, there's no room for you in New York. He's trying to paint Astorino himself as a racist. His whole thing with the Moreland Commission, it's my commission, I own it, and so I can get rid of it. Yet they just arrested another councilman today for corruption.
Councilman?
In city council
City Council,
in Queens.
in
Yeah,
Queens.
Reuben Willis.
Again, with earmarks to his nonprofit. And I think that Cuomo's polling because of the corruption and the economy and fracking are worse than we're being told. You've been inside politics all your life. What do you see as his game plan right now? Is it because they see news that they don't like, or they're trying,
no,
or like Mike Kaplowitz used the phrase, they're trying to kill the baby first?
Andrew Cuomo.
Democrats trying to kill babies?
You know,
They-
well, you were here for that show.
So.
You were here for that show.
Andrew Cuomo is in an enviable position. Look, he's the most popular politician in the state. He's got really strong numbers. He's got more money than any of us has seen for a candidate at this point for a re-election campaign. He's hovering around $40 million. He's going to disclose even more. He's a juggernaut. Now, that being said, he also has a strong ticket. The Republican Party is struggling to even find people willing to run against
At this point, he's being accurate. The attorney running for attorney general and running for controller. Yeah, though there is supposed to be an announcement today from somebody upstate that they're going to run for controller, Antonucci.
Oh,
or
wow.
something. Yes, I
didn't hear
posted that on my blog before
But
we went.
we have not had the conventions yet. We don't know who the...
That's this month, right?
Yeah,
May
later on this
15th.
month.
Republicans, I know, are they both at the same time?
Well, the Republicans haven't announced the full slate and lieutenant governor, and Andrew Cuomo hasn't announced, and there's a lot of rumor that he might change lieutenant governors.
Yeah, that was in the Daily News the other day. That
I don't even know who the lieutenant governor is.
A guy named Duffy, Lieutenant Governor Duffy from Rochester, New York, the mayor. But they're thinking about maybe someone from Long Island might be, because he moved the convention to Long Island, which signaled maybe
Right.
that someone from
You
Long
know,
Island.
it's funny.
might
The
come in
rumors
there.
are that Astorino's looking for somebody from upstate Buffalo, and Cuomo's dumping out Rochester. It's just
Maybe
funny.
Palladino. Maybe that was how he got the Palladino.
I don't think so.
But
the
I'm
Palladino
saying
endorsement over
you
Trump.
when you watch a campaign that's gone into this racial gutter right off the bat.
Why would a popular incumbent start with race when he knows it's BS?
This is what I think is really interesting about this race is the effect it's going to have on these third parties in New York. Now,
Yes.
New York is
Explain that,
famous.
yeah.
We're one of the only states that has this phenomenon where you can run on multiple
There are only
lines,
5
multiple
states,
tickets.
including New York, that allow you to do this.
Yeah, and it's very controversial. And these third parties, they are very questionable in a lot of their activities. But because
Because the other two parties aren't.
well, both the Working Family Party and the Independence Party have made a lot of headlines in the last couple of years.
Like the conservatives too in Westchester when they endorsed Spano in Astorino's first run. I mean,
They make very controversial moves.
Well, the independence parties.
They raise a lot of money. They don't seem to spend any money. So even though they'll have dinners and events and raise money, you never see ads or flyers or anything for the Independence Party.
What could their
Well, here's what's interesting about it
effect be?
is you have to, in the only the governor's race, you have to get at least 50,000 votes on your line or you cease to be a line.
and that goes for every
for
4
the,
years.
for the next year, for the next
For the
cycle.
next 4 years.
Okay.
The next 4
years.
years.
Until the
Oh,
next
4
governor's
years.
race.
Okay.
This is
Only the governor's race.
This was
Okay.
how the Working Families Party usurped the conservatives on the ballot, where they are on the ballot because of the votes they got in Cuomo's first race.
So union,
about minority rights?
Union members that were really upset with Cuomo, like particularly the teachers union, there was this rumor that they were going to run someone on the Working Family Party against Cuomo.
And that was because of his fight with the Bazzo, the mayor of New York
Exactly.
City.
But what's interesting is if they were to try to do something like that, the leadership of the Working Family Party is worried that that candidate that runs against Cuomo, if they don't make 50,000, they cease to be a line in the state of New York for the next 4 years.
How real do you think it is that
So it behooves
Casamidas?
them to cross endorse
Okay, yeah, but
one of the major parties.
Yeah, but how real do you think Casamida's threat to fund a liberal candidate? Doesn't that hurt?
Well, what he wants to do.
Casamidas was one of the Republican candidates at the time in the primary for New York City mayor last
But
year.
Katsimatidis is a lifelong Democrat.
Right, but he was trying to run as a
ran
Republican.
He wanted to be. He's a billionaire. He wanted to be very Bloomberg-esque in the way he runs. So he really wants a third party, and that's why he was willing to try to fund a liberal party to get them to cross-endorse Andrew
that
Cuomo.
would pull from the working
to get
families
50,000
party.
votes.
That
Hold
would
on a
pull-
second here. But this is what I don't know if you're. Are you talking about this? Are you more concerned or about this, like fascinated? Ooh, this might mean that there's certain parties might not be on the ballot for the next 4 years, or the effect that these parties might have on the governor's
that they
race?
might vanish for the next 4 years.
That's what you're okay.
So most specifically, the Independence Party. So if the Independence Party does not support Astorino, which they said they're not going to support Astorino, but now the former chair of the state of New York is asking, the Democratic chair of the state of New York is asking Cuomo to refuse the endorsement of the Independence Party. So there's going to be an active attempt to kill the party.
So they're teaming up against the party.
If both sides agree not to run on the independence line in a governor's race, and they don't get 50,000
In the next 4 years.
then the next 4 years, the independence ballot
Which is what happened to the Liberal Party line.
which is big effect here locally.
Why do they want to do that?
I think that they're hearing from party activists
On both
like
parties.
myself from both parties saying that the Independence Party or all third parties are very, they could be very, how do I say this politely? Manipulative.
That is the word.
Here in Westchester especially, we have a really big problem with the Independence
I know
Party.
about, yeah, right.
They're really, you don't know who they're going to back until the very last minute. They'll contact you. They'll tell you to come to their fundraisers. They'll try to take money from you. Now, I'm not saying bribes or anything like that, but I'm just saying it's normal operating procedure. But they'll coddle up to you, say you're going to get endorsed by us, you're terrific, and then the petitions come out and you're not on the ballot line, and they've backed your opponent. And the elections are very close in a lot of these communities where that independence line is making the difference, and they know it.
Well, I'm
And
looking in
they're abusing
Yorktown.
it.
I'm looking in
Well, they had
Yorktown,
no
which
effect
we
in
have an
Yorktown.
open seat, which you have faced in Peaksville a
I
couple
think
of
that doesn't
times.
matter.
No, but it seems that the Democrat Party is going to nominate former Supervisor Susan Siegel to run in November, and she's now switched back to being a Democrat. She ran as a Republican as supervisor, but now she's switching back to being a Democrat. And I'm hearing that she's got a lock for the I line.
Wow.
And
But see, does that matter? Susan, it was like George Bush running against, I don't know, Barack Obama. And whoever, we're worried about who gets the I line. No, people love or hate both of those people. And they don't care what they run on. Susan Siegel is a known quantity, and this doesn't really affect you, known quantity in Yorktown. She lost re-election. People feel very strongly. You could put her on any line. They're going to see Siegel, and they're going to say yes, or they're going to say no. It's not going to matter at all in this election in Yorktown.
But you see,
That's
like locally here, we had Mary Beth McGowan lost her seat by 3 votes. 3 votes. And we know
3
that.
votes.
Yeah, which we know that when Dominic Volpe ran against John Testa, the difference was very small. It's like 15 or 16 votes, and the independence line really kind of put John over. There's people who honestly like to vote on the independence line. They think of themselves as independents.
Well,
whoever gets that ballot line must be
So
the
some races
independent
it affects
candidate.
things.
Well,
some it
but the
doesn't.
Daily
Especially
News,
local.
But I get what you're saying
both
about
the Daily News and the New York Post say this all the time. That the independence line is a confusing line. People, when they fill out their registration card,
They don't know that they're members of a party.
Right. And so this has been covered by both sides of the spectrum.
People very close to me don't know that.
Right.
They're like, what? They have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican.
Right.
I'm independent. And they'll check it off, and they
it's
don't
a
realize they just
CE.
joined a party.
Right.
Yeah. It's
See, I'm a non. I didn't check off any party.
You're a contrarian.
Yes, you've said that many times.
Bazzo party.
The Bazzo party.
When I run for president, I'm going to be outlawing cars on the road when I'm taking people home from the train during rush hour.
Good idea.
Because I still think I should still run the taxi business, because I think being president, I'll get more customers.
Get the cars off the road. It's good for global warming, Andy.
Oh,
boy.
God, here we are
Get
again.
him started.
Now I want to get into the state senate race, because I know deep in your heart you're going to be upset that Greg Ball may not be running for the state senate in your district. He may actually be running for Putnam County Executive.
I am so happy that
So I'm in error.
there is a great chance that Greg Ball will no longer represent me. Yes.
And
that gies me pleasure thinking about
It
that.
does, huh?
That's
It
sick.
does. Yeah. It is a little bit. I get an invitation to these Greg Ball. We were just talking about this earlier. I get invited to these Greg Ball events that he does, pancake breakfast with moms, or an event with veterans, or something with children, and he uses the tax money to do these events all the time. And over the last year, every single event has been in Putnam County. He hasn't done. It's as if we don't have pancakes in Westchester. He never does an event down here.
So you're saying he's been running for at
I
least
think
a year.
he's been actively running for county executive of Putnam County for a long time now.
Now, but that means the Senate seat opens up.
Wait, do you follow Putnam politics at all? Or are you more
Very little.
so
Very
you
little.
couldn't give Odell versus Ball in
No,
the
no, I
primary?
couldn't. No, I couldn't. No.
Okay.
You know, Sam Oliverio is going to be the challenger on the Democrat side.
Oh, really? Oh, great. Sam was my guidance counselor
You
when I
both
was
know
in
him
junior high
going
school.
back.
And he was also your
That's
right.
nice.
Yes, he was. So
Did he
I'm just
brainwash
saying-
you into the
He's a
Democrat
Putnam
Party?
Valley
Is that
guy.
what happened?
He was, he was like the hip guy. He used to wear like a leather jacket.
Really?
I
And
told
he's
you
still
that.
hip, you know.
A leather.
He's
No, I know you did, but a
He's
leather
got a
jacket.
pierced ear.
Yes, I went to school with him. He was a hood.
He's more
Yeah.
he's more hip than I am.
Yeah. So anyway, but that opens up the state Senate seat if this turns out to be true, and that announcement will be made May 16th, which will be 2 days after this show airs. And we just talked about how the subterfuge may be working on how he's going to. He says he's going to. Greg Ball's going to announce in Westchester, but at the last minute because of campaign finance, he's going to change the venue to Putnam.
Shocking.
Using subterfuge, yes,
Smart.
to get more money.
Smart.
But I think Justin Wagner is going to run.
Right, so
I think
right
he's going to
now,
do great.
well, he's already announced he's running. And our sources tell us that Terrence Murphy, Yorktown councilman, who loves being a Yorktown councilman because he never wants to leave that seat, wants to run for state senate. I think the fact that Steve Katz got the Putnam County endorsement, Republican endorsement for the assembly, kind of watered down Terrence's
Odell
desire.
also got it from the Republican Party.
Right,
That's
you told me
not
that.
Ball.
I know, but Terrence Murphy's not Greg Ball.
That's true.
Didn't Terrence Murphy run for County Ledge?
Oh, that's right. He did that. Yeah, that's right. He has run for other seats as a councilman. I forgot. I forgot about that. But I think that's going to be a problem for Terrence in his own hometown.
But I think, look, Justin ran once already. He came very, very close. He did a terrific job. He impressed a lot of people. It was his first time out. He had very little institutional support from the Democratic Party because the race wasn't on the radar screen because he was so kind of like not very well known. But he is much
Wagner?
better known. Yeah, with the
That's what
fake
he was known
website-
by.
The fake websites. And,
Now, let me ask you a
But
question.
he's so much better
Do
known
you
now.
see-
He spent a lot of money, so he increased his name
Do you
recognition.
see
He's a much more polished candidate.
If Greg actually makes this announcement that he's running and opens, and so he's not an incumbent running for that seat, do you see Wagner facing a primary?
No,
challenge?
absolutely
Don't you think it hurts Wagner that it's not a presidential year?
No, I think that that Justin's a strong candidate. He's going to have a lot of institutional support, and there's just not a lot of races on the radar screen statewide this year.
Yeah,
especially after the primaries.
But my sources tell me
there's more
that
primary races that are kind of hot within the Democratic Party,
my
but not general
sources
elections.
tell me former Assemblyman Bob Castelli.
Bob Castelli.
Bob Castelli,
yes.
is interested in running for the state senate and primarying Murphy, though I think Murphy would have the party support because Castelli would have to do it as an insurgent.
I don't know. Castelli's a pretty impressive guy, though. I mean, he's a former police officer.
Yes,
He's
You didn't say that when he
award-winning.
was running for
Vietnam.
the assembly. You championed his opponent.
I did not say that about him, but I would say that if he was in a primary with Terrence Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Nice. That means they're scared of Murphy.
Now,
But Justin's a great guy, and I think people know that, and I think he's going to get a lot of support.
do you think the Republicans are going to put somebody up against Caleb?
Yes, I think they always do. They'll find someone that wants
You
to
think
run.
they'll find a sacrificial lamb?
Let me ask you about sacrificial lambs. Chris Day and Lowy.
Congress, right?
been- yeah,
18th
I haven't been
district,
following
District
that.
18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, Loey's super strong.
Yeah,
I mean, she's really.
What
Take a
about
bid.
Hayworth versus Mahoney?
I haven't been really following that, but I from what I understand, Sean is surprising a lot of people. He's a lot more moderate than they thought he was going to be. They thought he was going to go in as a real kind of liberal, and he's not. He's very moderate, very fiscally conservative. So I
God,
think
you're
that he's.
such-
No, I
Look,
I-
it's such campaign mode. It's
no, but I think
ridiculous.
it's not. I'm just saying that he shocked a lot of people. So I
but
think
what
that
do
they're
you-
happy with
Yeah,
him.
but now does your opinion of Mahoney?
Now that depends on off year versus on year, because that's what we saw with
Yes, we
with
did.
John Hall.
Yes.
So John Hall wrote in,
Or with Hayworth, you could say it's the same.
or
yeah.
with Hayward, same
Right.
thing.
Now let me
So
ask you
she
a
wrote in
question.
on Tea
Does
Party
your
Ways,
opinion of
so-
Mahoney changes with all these selfies Craig and Mahoney have been taking of each other at all these events together? That
What do you
he-
insinuate?
No, I'm saying that you got, you're
You
anti.
can't repeat the rumors that everyone has heard and knows and talks about all the time.
No, we're talking about the Antichrist to the Democrats, Greg Ball, running around with a champion.
I thought Christ was the Antichrist of Democrats.
Does your questioning of Mahoney's judgment change?
Despite all current belief, Greg voted against gay marriage. So
Yes, he did. Well, didn't he vote against it, and then he got certain protections he wanted for Christian churches, and then he switched? Is that what it was? I think I know he wanted protections put in for religious beliefs.
No, my point being is that you
Doesn't matter though.
Was that our little 2-minute warning?
the 4-minute
We
rule.
get that often.
But my point being,
We should do Peekskill really quick.
we are going to do
Yeah,
that
do it now.
now.
Let's do it now.
Apparently, I saw this in Yorktown with Susan Siegel, who declared war on the Peekskill Police Department and the Highway Department, and we saw where that wound up with her next
She
election.
declared war on the Yorktown.
Yeah,
Police Department.
right. Apparently in Peekskill, you now have a mayor that has a problem
Well-
with the police, the city manager, and the corporate council.
Yeah, on Monday the 5th, in an open meeting,
Right, this is on
televised,
video. You could
People,
find
yeah,
it.
people could just go to our website, go find
What's
the
the
video, and watch
website?
it. It's
The web-
Peekskill City Hall, Peekskill website, City Peekskill.
Okay.
And you can find it's the May 5th meeting, and the mayor even talks about how there was a meeting in his office with him and only 2 other members of the council, both that
Okay.
share his party. The 3 of them met with the chief of police, corporation counsel, and the city manager, and in fact, basically,
not at the same time, individually.
suggested that they resign. Acknowledged that he doesn't have the votes to vote them out, but suggested that they resign. And he has been publicly attacking so many of the heads of our different departments that it seems to be an attempt to undermine the confidence that the citizens have in the mechanisms and the people running the city. So we put out a press release basically saying
You
that
can find that press release
Yeah.
on Bazzo Manifesto from Monday,
Basically,
the 5th post.
we just want to make it clear 2 things. Number one, that we stand by, we have full faith, and we stand by our city leadership, but also that we're not going to allow people to be forced out and replaced with patronage
Did he
jobs.
run on this?
He did not. No, he did not. But I think he comes from kind of a different era in Peekskill where there would be wholesale firings
When
of all the
a new
leadership.
administration came in.
And then you bring in your friends and family, and then a lot of patronage jobs. But we're not going to go back to that. We're
Yeah,
not
but
going
the
to.
last chief lasted 30 years through multiple
40 years.
40 multiple administrations.
Chief Tumalone.
Multiple parties.
So it's personal with the chief, it seems
Well, what's
like.
interesting with this is Eric Johansson's from a well-known
chief, Eric
Republican
Johansson.
family. Yep.
Okay.
Anthony Ruggiero, the city manager, is a registered Republican, and our corporation council is a registered Republican. So I don't think that this is partisan so much as new administration wanting to,
Clean out.
clean out the old people and bring in their own people.
But do you think the people,
Now, why would you want to do that?
why would you want to politicize offices that people
This is the way it used
inherently
to be.
don't see as political offices?
Yeah, John Testa did that with a guy named Dan Pagano, who became very well-known leader of the Independence Party here locally. But that's how he got his first job at Corporation Counsel for the City of Peekskill. When John Testa came in, this was kind of a thing. You would replace the prior folks with your people.
By
It
the
was like
way,
a jobs
who
program.
was the corporate council that was replaced?
It was Frank Catalina.
Oh, jeez.
Was the Corporation
Irony.
Council. But we don't want to go back to that. So what we wanted to do was put out a press release saying that
Frank
we
Catalina
stand
is
by.
the
Mayor.
He's the mayor now, yeah. But that we stand by Anthony Ruggiero, our city manager, and the leadership, and hopefully we got that point across.
Well, we'll
So
see
they
what
don't have the
happens.
votes, so they can't do anything, correct?
Right.
They don't have the
Bottom
votes,
line,
but
they can make their lives hell.
What we don't want is for make everyone's lives hell and try to force them to resign, because that's not good.
You're the one, Susan Siegel, coming to Peekskill.
No. Although I might have to move to Yorktown, and
Run for town board.
well, you guys got benefits and more money. So.
That's
We
right.
got a nice open seat. You could just pop
Anyway,
right into.
thank you, folks. We'll see you soon. Darren, thank you for coming.
How come Dominic's never here when I come?
Who knows?
He's,
I don't know if
she's
he
cleaning your
Does he do the
shirts. She's
show?
cleaning your shirts. He was supposed to be for this one. Told me he was going to be here for